The voice of women in sport.
Hello, and thank you for downloading The Bolder Woman. This is Season 1, Episode 20, and I'm Chris Stafford.
Your heart is full and wanting more. Your future's at the door. Give it all you got. No hesitating. You've been waiting all your life.
My guest today is Canadian Dragonboat paddler Petra, who at 57 has now been paddling some 20 years and found the sport that she loves. Petra is a member of the New Dragons Racing Club, the NDRC, which practices at the Sunnyside Paddling Club in Toronto. Some 10 years after she started dragonboat racing, Petra was competing internationally. Some of her career highlights have been finishing 9th at the IDBF Club Crew World Championships in Ravenna, Italy. In September 2014, she paddled for a team called Outer Harbour Senior A Women, where they won gold medals in all of their 3 races. She also finished 13th at the World National Championships in Dianchi Lake, Kunming in China. In October 2017, she represented Canada for the Senior A in the women's and the mixed divisions, and they won 8 gold medals out of 8 races, 4 for each division. So showing some consistency there, and she has some great races to look forward to this year with the Regina National Canadian Championships coming up shortly, and they will be looking to qualify for France in 2020 for a major competition there, and also looking forward to a trip to Thailand, which we'll hear more about now. Hi, Petra. Welcome to the program. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure.
Well, I understand this is your podcasting debut, so a maiden voyage.
Absolutely. My first time. There's a first for everything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is obviously a sport you love, is dragonboat racing. Now, we have covered it before, as you know, but I was surprised how popular it is. It wasn't a sport that I was very familiar with, but it doesn't get a lot of media coverage per se, does it?
No, it doesn't. No.
And I wonder why that is, because obviously, you know, as athletes, you train just as much, you put just as much into this as we're going to hear from you, because it's something that, you know, you get passionate about, and that's where you spend every minute of your spare time, isn't it? How many hours a week do you think you put into it?
Oh, gosh, that's a good question. I would say 4 to 6 hours on the water, and then probably the same 4 to 6 hours training at a gym or at, cardio. And then there's just the whole aspect of healthy eating, plenty of sleep, your nutrition. So it's a big picture, yes.
And this is an amateur sport, obviously, but very popular. You've got a day job, I understand, as a planning coordinator at a girls' school. So you put all your spare time and your passion into the sport. But what was it that encouraged you to take it up in the first place?
That's a great question. I had to look back in my life as a early child and my family upbringing, and what actually brought me into the sport. I was just an oldest child of 4, very closely in years. Parents very, very busy in their life with developing a business, a bakery family business. And I was quiet, just the mother role of being the eldest sibling and taking part of regular school life. And focus back then was not so much sports, more like music and the German language. Married quite young. My next goal was to have children, as that was my comfort zone, which I was blessed truly with. And then I think I was around the age of 35 or so. My children were between 5 and 10. And thinking, I'm loving my life, but there just has to be maybe something a little bit more that is more me. I've always loved the outdoors. I've always loved water, hiking, camping, canoeing. And then one day, a good friend through my children had talked about this Dragonboat. And I go, what is Dragonboat? Oh, it's paddling on the water. Water! And I just, she says, come on out. I joined it, and I was immediately hooked. And over the years, this was about, 18 years ago. So I was in my late 30s or something like that, and started off very, very recreational. 8 to 10 weeks in the spring, May and June, competed, and then was done. And it just really step by step grew. 4 or 5 years later, found a team that ran all year, got a super opportunity to join a team that was traveling over to Hong Kong in 2012. And then that was when my whole horizon exploded to where I am today.
So had you done water sports before then? Was there a natural inclination to get on the water?
Other than recreational camping with friends in my teens, not really. No. I enjoyed being fit and a little bit somewhat competitive, but really just too shy to really jump into anything outside of my comfort zone.
And how did it feel then? Because being part of a team probably gave you the sort of confidence and support then to do the sport, to have a go, and it's not like going out on your own and being a solo rower or something. It's an individual sport. This was probably a very comforting and reassuring environment then, a team environment on a dragon boat, was it?
Exactly, Chris. That was the whole thing. I was one of 19 other paddlers in a boat. The steers person was your coach, and I felt like I wasn't being zeroed in on. It was a team effort, getting to know the paddlers beside you and the whole group, experiencing what it was like on racing day and the focus and the growth. Exactly. It was my time. I was ready for it, and it was the team and not an individual sport that grabbed me.
But how about fitness, though, Petra? What sort of level of fitness did you have when you took up the sport, and what did you find you needed to do to be competitive?
Well, I was always one of those that, enjoyed staying trim and fit, and partook in fitness classes at gyms and loved walking and cardio. My guess was that I was more focused on cardio. I did some minor weights, but nothing to where the development had to grow in order to race worlds, nationals, and so forth. When I first learned that that's what you needed to do, I thought, oh my gosh, I never, ever would get to that level. So back then I was just the average, on the more fit side, but not muscularly built.
So where were you doing your paddling? Because it's interesting, you call it paddling, right? You talk about Dragonboat races as paddlers, just as you would say stand-up paddleboarding and other paddling sports. But where did you have to go for this? Was there somewhere local? Was it easy accessible? And what sort of costs were there involved to take up the sport then, Petra?
Well, that was actually another part of the intriguing point. Is when I first started paddling, my girlfriend and I would cycle out to Oakville. So it was like a 25-minute bike ride to get to the event. So that was another, oh, good, this is more opportunity to stay fit. And then we just paddled out of, at the moment I've forgotten the river, but it's I think it was Brill Oak or somewhere, and it was with a school a private school out in Oakville as well.
So that's where you actually first got in the boat, and did it cost you anything?
At that point, it was no. Aside from the coaching fees and the actual first regatta, it was minimal. It was a couple of $100. It was very, it wasn't a slap in the face of thousands and thousands. You didn't have to buy a boat. They would supply the life jackets. They supplied the paddles. As a beginner, it's a great sport to just walk into.
Yeah, it sounds like it very easily accessible. Then, not and because it's not so popular or so widely known. It obviously is popular, but it doesn't get the media attention. People probably don't realise how accessible it is either. And it was something that not only you got passionate about, but you soon got competitive with. How long had you been actually paddling before you started racing internationally?
I would say it took about 10 years to get to that level. Yes, about 10 years. One team was heading out to Hong Kong, and they were missing a half a dozen paddlers. So one coach knew another coach, approached him, asked if there was anybody on the team that he felt would fit his team, and asked. The question came to me: would I be interested? The idea of traveling to Hong Kong for a sporting event was something that I just could not turn down.
No, what a fantastic opportunity. So that was your international debut, was it?
Yes, it was. That was Hong Kong in 2012, and it was called the Club Crew World Championship Regattas.
Okay, and so you all fly out as a team, but on your own dime, presumably.
Exactly, yes. Unless you manage personally to go to your work or to go to family and friends to ask for support, it is all on your own dime.
So that's when the costs, actually, the expenses kick in when you're doing some international travelling. Because is there a governing body for the sport that supports you at all? And is there any prize money then, Petra?
There is a governing body. There's the Dragonboat Canada and the International Dragonboat Federation. They assist the team managers in finding places to stay and the dates and organizing practices and things like that. But there's no real support in supplementing the fees.
So it's all down to the club then and the boat and, you know, just all knuckling down together and I guess being united as a team. It certainly engenders team spirit, doesn't it? That's the great thing about sailing, you know, when you're on a crew, though, isn't it? Whatever kind of crew you're on, it is all about the team.
Yes, it certainly is about the team, and that's one of the best aspects of this sport is that you're in a group of about 25 people when you do this traveling, or even at your daily practices. It's a group.
Now, what about the rewards, though, in terms of prize money, or is it just about the glory? Is there a trophy?
There are trophies, depending on what level. If your club itself wins very many of the silver, bronze, or gold medals, there is a big cup at some of these international regattas, but mostly it's your self-glory and holding this medal in your hand that you thought, just you never ever expected that feeling and that euphoria of a team effort and bonding.
What did it teach you about yourself then, Petra? Because you said you were a fairly shy person when you were younger, but what did this give to you and what did you learn from the sport?
It's never too late to start anything. It's never too late to grow. It's never too late to become more fit. It's never too late to learn. That's one of the best things about dragon boating. You can jump in at any age. You don't have to be a superstar. You're not looking for a natural athletic approach or body movement. It's something that is just it's taught as long as you're able to take in the teaching techniques and perform and you have coaches that you work well with. It's something for me that gave me an opportunity to just grow and feel better about myself and feel that I can accomplish anything that I put my heart to.
Yeah, clearly you've got a lot out of it, and also as an athlete, as you said, you are someone that like to keep fit and we're mindful of nutrition, diet, and so on, and staying in shape. But as an athlete, what did the sport tell you? What type of athlete you are? That I am capable.
I do have I'm fortunate enough that I am able to build the muscle. I'm fortunate enough to perform as to the techniques that are asked for and required. I can easily work within a group of teammates. There's a lot to be said about when people are looking up to you once you've done it a couple of times or done a world championship race level, and then you actually gain an opportunity to become a leader, which was something that I actually rolled into my my path just 2 years ago. At that, I found my teammates were looking up to me, and that was just another glorified moment, and I will keep forever.
That's wonderful. So, any surprises then from your involvement in the sport?
Any surprises? I guess the surprises is once you figure out that this is the extreme level or the racing level that you want to go into, is the testing that was involved and the competition. It's a little bit of an edge within the team. There's the team members is that you want to be better and you want to make sure you secure your seat. I guess the actual testing and what was involved was a little bit of a surprise to me. Other than that, the great friendships that you meet, the great like-minded people, that was something, a bit of a surprise, and I guess that's what drew me to wanting more and more.
So I'm guessing you weren't necessarily a competitive person when you were younger in sport, but now, would you say that you're competitive, you're hungry for more and to win?
If you were to ask that question to my teammates, they would all, or my family members, they would all laugh and say, absolutely. Once you've made the gender boat, I've been fortunate enough to be within a club crew that has both genders, a male and a female, and that'd be 20 paddlers of one and 20 paddlers of the other, and then they take the top 12 paddlers from each gender and make a mixed crew. And then I said, well, okay, I've made the gender, and now my goal is I've got to make sure I can make the mixed crew. And the boat that my own club team that I'm with, the average age is 28, and that's my children's age, and I call them my children, my kids, and I say, okay, well, if I'm joining this team, I'm not going to be number 12 or number 15. I'm making sure I'm going to be like number 2 or 3, and it's a goal, it's a drive, and I'm competitive, and I make it my mission to try and do the best that I can.
So what's your children's reaction to Mum being so sporty and competitive at this?
They're a little quiet about it, but I know they're proud of me. When I get introduced to their new friends or their new partners, girlfriends, boyfriends, and then I hear the little words, oh, I hear that you're into the dragon boating, and I kind of look, and it makes me feel good inside that my children do acknowledge that. It's warming, it's loving, yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. And you mentioned a little bit about the time you spend on the water. Let's talk more about your training then, Petra, because I know you've got some competitions coming up. You're flying all over the world, it seems, this year and beyond. But let's talk a little bit about what that takes each week from you. I know you go to the gym as well. Give us a sense of what your exercise routine is per week.
Sure. My coach, actually, my club coach sends us a program, and there's usually twice a day there's some activity that we need to do. It's in the weight room. It's interval trainings with the cardio, on the water, the program. Getting ready for competitions, and this year, as you said, is a heavy, intense year. The focus has been together, feeling the rhythm in the boat, getting as much power and on the entry with your paddle, with the exit of your paddle, and it's making us work in the one unison moment. So there's been a lot of focus on quick strokes, fast, energy, be ready, don't hold back. Our practices are quite intense. We're 90 minutes on the water, and the team is in 2 weeks or so. We're heading off to Regina and competing against in the women's division. I think it's 12 other teams, Canadian teams, all wanting to go to France in 2020. So this is a qualifier. So our goals are not just to be number 4 or 5 of the top 5 qualifiers. Our goal is to be basically number 1. 2, if you want to be a little bit, second place, if you say, okay, I'm good with that second place, but overall our mission is to be first, and it's a lot of driven, hard work, focus, attendance, and power.
So how many boats would you have in the race then, Petra?
It all depends on the course. Some courses have 4 lanes, 5, 6 lanes. I believe the one that we're heading into Regina is going to be 6 lanes. There's heats. There's different lengths, 200 meters, 500 meters, 2K, with turns, and it's points, and it's all leading up to ending up in the top 5.
Yeah, and that's Regina, Saskatchewan. That's the Nationals then, presumably an annual event.
It's an annual event. It's the Canadian Nationals, and looking for the top teams in Canada. And then I do have another exciting competition coming up in August, and that's where 25 women of each gender paddlers get chosen for a certain age division to represent Canada, and this year it's taking place in Thailand.
Yeah, that's very exciting to look forward to. But just, you mentioned France 2020. What competition is that next year?
That would be the following year, and that's where you're with your own club team. So the team that you're on the water with, 3-4 times a week, the team that you do your dry land training with, the team that you see all the time, and that's your own club team. You compete against the rest of the world, whoever else wants to join, from the Asian countries, the European countries, Americas, Australia, and it's their own club teams, and you get to race against them. That race itself happens every other year, the Club Crew World Championships.
Club Crew World Championships, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Thailand event, when is that taking place and how often is that event?
That's what they call the World Nations Championships, and that also is held every other year.
Okay.
And then this year it's taking place in Thailand.
Fantastic. So have you been to these venues before? Do you know what to expect?
I've never been to Thailand. It's in the city called Pattaya. They're usually race courses where there's other types of water sport race courses with lanes marked and audience seats. And so the coaches try to find out what the water is going to be like, whether it's shallow, deep, whether it's going to be lots of waves or pretty flat. And then they, during our practices leading up to it, well, this is what the water is going to feel like, so we're going to try and train in this format. So I personally haven't had that many worldly experiences over my whole lifetime to know all the different regatta locations.
But how exciting, though, to look forward to those, when you're in an amateur sport, an amateur team sport, but you get these opportunities to travel internationally with the team and compete. That must be, obviously the goal, the exciting part of the sport is you never know what opportunities are out there for you.
That's so true. It's absolutely thrilling. Once you get there and you land and your whole focus. It's one of the best things about this level of the sport, and with any sport, is your whole mindset. It's once you land and you get to a specific race site, your focus is healthy nutrition, sleep, in knowing what your body is doing, knowing how your body is reacting, knowing how to recover, and then doing the same thing and supporting your teammates. It's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine. And what about the nutrition? You've mentioned that you're obviously mindful of that and diet. Any particular routines or any tips for other athletes here of what works for you?
What works for me is staying away from the greasy or takeouts or restaurant lifestyle. I prefer to eat my own meals, prepare my own meals, know what I'm putting in them. I do quite a bit of research of how to monitor your protein, how to monitor your carbohydrates, drinking plenty of water. That's a big number one. How to keep hydrated, and how to make sure that when sweating and overexerting, how to replenish what you've lost. And sleep, and sleep is a big thing. It's with our busy lifestyles of working and having family and social friends, and then maintaining the training program, I'd say lots of times sleep is the one that gets hit the most, and making sure that you get those hours in.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before you go, I want to learn a little bit more about what you're doing with outrigger canoe, because we've heard this before with paddlers, with Dragonboat racing. They also do the outrigger canoe because you're paddling both sides. So, first of all, which side do you paddle on the Dragonboat?
I'm a left paddler, and if you were to see me on the right, you would say, "Don't come back in the boat." But I'm strictly a left. And that's the one thing about the outrigger. It's an opportunity to feel how you make the boat move by yourself. You're the only one paddling. You're the only one pulling the water. You're the only one watching what you're doing to the boat. Is it bouncing around? In my years since of 2012, of the past 7 years of training at this level, the outrigger program has quite grown with coaches and coaching and within one's personal. It's developed, and it also gives you an opportunity to balance your body a little bit, because when you are on the one side only, either left or right, your lats and your muscles and your lower back and your glutes, they just all get misproportioned. So jumping in an outrigger canoe allows you to slowly balance it out, get some kind of form on your opposite side, and enjoy the sport as an individual, and get out on the water more.
Yes, I could imagine that. That's the problem with it. It's a bit like, I suppose, being a tennis player or something. You're going to be, using your dominant side in the dragon boat, and favouring that, of course, and getting stronger on that. So getting the balance must be really important to you. But it doesn't make you want to be right-handed then in the dragon boat. It doesn't get you strong enough for you to switch sides if you had to.
There are some paddlers actually that are able to paddle on both sides. They've developed themselves, or they're more naturally coordinated, where they are able to balance it out. Same thing with some baseball players, or like if you watch little kids when they're 3 or 4, and the first time you give them a baseball bat, they can't decide which side suits them, and so they're probably that kind of makeup where they have that ability, whereas others have to work harder at balancing both sides.
Yeah, but sounds like you're really on top of it and keeping fit and enjoying the sport. And I have to say, for the Bolder Woman podcast here, we talk to athletes from 50 onwards, and we've had, as you know, Petra, we've had guests, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So you're on the young end of the scale here at 57. How long do you expect to be able to go paddling in the dragon boat competitively?
Well, if I were to just look at the way my body's performing now, I could probably paddle quite some time. It's mostly if I want to continue putting the time and effort in order to paddle at these extravagant world nation championships. You can't just turn it on and call up the coach. Okay, I'm ready to jump in the boat next week. It's like I was just talking to some friends last night. It's like an 18-month process of building and getting to that level. So how much longer? It's a question that I've put in my lap for quite some time. Do I want to keep going? Sometimes the motivation is hard to feel and to get up and go every day. At the moment, you caught me at a high. I'm gearing up for Regina in Thailand, and I just came back from a training camp with my national team mates that I'll be seeing in Thailand, and I'm ready to go. And if you were to ask me, do I want to do France? Do I want to do the following Hong Kong? I'd be inclining to yes. But come back to me in the winter after months of not being on the water and continuing to maintain the physical aspect in the gyms. It's a struggle. It is a struggle. Even though I'm one of the younger of your participant groups, it's still a struggle. I could always just consider taking some time off and coming back. That's the one great thing about paddling, is you can take some time off, a little hiatus, and then come back and join and not trying out for the 40-year-old plus team, try out for the 50-plus team, the 60-plus team. It seems to this sport, it seems to have all kinds of opportunities to keep going.
Do you have a training buddy that comes and knocks on your door to go to the gym?
No, I don't have a personal training buddy. I've got the opportunity to work out from my work. There's a fitness gym in the school, so I have a super advantage in that respect. But I have a wonderful supportive partner who's always patting me on the shoulder. And when I come home and I said, "Oh, do I really need to jump on the rowing machine to get my cardio in?" His response is, "You know you need to, and go for it."
There you go.
Big bonus that I get to do nowadays.
There you go. And you mentioned to me before that you enjoy hiking and cycling too, so it sounds like you're going to stay pretty active.
That's as long as my body allows me and my heart and soul, that's my direction, yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Petra, the very, very best of luck to you. It sounds like exciting times ahead, and you just need to keep on kicking on, right, and enjoying the sport as you do. So thank you for taking time to come on the program. Really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome, Chris. It was a pleasure, and I'm happy to have survived my first podcast.
You did, in style. Well done, you. Thanks, Petra.
Thank you.
Conversations from the world of women's sports. This is Wisp Sports Radio.
And you can find some links to find out more about paddleboat racing in the show notes with this episode on the website, as always, at wispsports.com. Just go to the Listen tab and drop down to The Bolder Woman. And in case you've missed any previous episodes of the show, then you can listen to them right there on the website at The Bolder Woman, along with many more sports and shows that we have here at Wisp Sports. And of course, there's articles and blogs as well as videos. And the podcasts are downloadable on the website as well as on any podcast app at Wisp Sports. You can also reach us here by emailing us at info@wispsports.com. If you have any suggestions for guests for this or other shows, we would love to hear from you. And you can also join in the conversation on our social media platforms. Just look for Wisp Sports. Until the next time, thank you for listening and supporting women in sport everywhere. Goodbye for now.
This is your moment. This is your moment in time. This is your moment. This is your moment to shine, to shine, to shine. So shine on. And every time you hit the wall, remember you can have it all, even the mighty fall. It's closer than it's ever been, and now it's more than just a win. It's where your life begins.